For serving military personnel who break the law,
can you please calm me the fuck down?
There is a detention facility like no other, where the army sends those convicted of crimes during service. A house of correction that puts deadly weapons and live ammunition into the hands of its inmates.
Position clear!
Where bad behaviour can break futures.
Your unit could apply for your discharge.
I just wanted him to know that I think he's a knobhead.
I couldn't give a fuck like where the limit is.
Let's go.
And punishing training
Keep the reps, keep the reps.
pushes the law-breaking detainees to the limit.
Morris, you are done.
Welcome to the Military Corrective Training Centre, known as MCTC.
We're not allowed to go home.
It is a prison.
A notorious establishment
Get down!
of back-to-basics discipline,
Think about delivering a strike?
where your guard today
A mobile phone is a prohibited item.
There's being searched and then there's being searched.
This is a digital RF scanner. I will be able to tell if there's a phone.
could be your comrade at war tomorrow.
Look around, you fucking idiot.
Stop! That's enough!
It's Wednesday afternoon at MCTC, and the detainees have been assembled for a surprise compulsory drugs test.
Have you taken any non-prescribed medication?
No.
Sure?
Yeah.
Are you pretty sure?
Yeah.
Good. Have you had any eye or dental treatment in the last 24 hours?
No.
Cannabis usually stays in your hair a lot longer than in your urine. So I was a bit worried.
We're in a detention facility. It's not like anybody can get out and get drugs into here.
Locked up for both civilian and military crimes, these law-breaking soldiers are closely controlled and monitored.
Detainees are here for anything from a sexual offence, serious assaults, grievous bodily harm, through to battery. And there's an expectation of duty under a stricter regime than they would have back up in their units.
Have you taken any prescribed medication in the last 30 days? And have you had any eye or dental treatment in the last 24 hours?
No stuff.
We do have to have a very controlled environment. The detainee has to conform to what we are telling them to do. Otherwise, the system doesn't work, but it's a system which is quite alien to them. So it's a challenge.
Initial and date.
What? No, mate. I've got to check these numbers to these numbers.
Okay, stop.
Check them and then we'll sign them afterwards.
One of the most sensitive types of crimes for which soldiers are sent to MCTC are those of a sexual nature. Detainee under sentence, or DUS, Coro, comes from a proud military family, but has been found guilty of misconduct through alcohol and disgraceful conduct of an indecent kind.
I regret what I done. I know it is wrong. Don't remember it, but it doesn't give me the right to do what I done. I got cousins, sisters, I got nieces. I wouldn't let a bloke do that to my sisters. And for me to do it, it's hypocritical. And if I had the choice, I would go back and change this.
Coro's been sentenced to 11 months and demoted from corporal, but he can count himself lucky. Shortly after his conviction, the military introduced a policy of dismissal for any kind of unacceptable sexual behaviour, from very minor indecent conduct to serious sexual offences like rape.
He should count himself very, very fortunate to still be in, and I think he does. His attitude to his offence certainly seems to be very remorseful, but ultimately the proof will be in his behaviour.
And it's not just Coro's behaviour that staff will have to keep an eye on.
There's a lot of sensitive offences, shall we say, that a lot of detainees would find disgraceful and unforgivable.
Between 10 to 15% of the offenders are here for an offence of a sexual nature. Rumours about offences spread like wildfire in the MCTC. The jungle drums get beaten very quickly as soon as someone new is in there.
Any sexual offence is, just a disgusting thing, and appropriate things should happen to them. If you put a man who's in here for a violent offence with a sexual offender, then he's clearly going to, no doubt, beat the fuck out of him.
We advise offenders who are here for their more sensitive offences, don't tell the true nature of why you're here.
I am a little nervous because everybody started looking at me, because in here everybody knows what everybody is in here for. I can't stop what people think. I can't do anything but just ask for forgiveness.
Left, right, left. Halt.
At MCTC, a strict regime is central to keeping detainees in line
Guys, keep the noise down.
and ready for operations if they're returning to action.
Discipline is really important in the military because you have to operate in extremely stressful situations, and you need to rely on people doing their job when they're under real pressure, and that comes from discipline. If you don't have it, then you just have chaos.
Slow. March.
But some ways of instilling order and discipline are stranger than others.
Changing. Sticks. Change. Sticks.
Pace sticking is a centuries-old military drill once used to measure out artillery gun placements.
That's good. Just keep the dress in there.
But today, it's used to forge camaraderie and fighting spirit.
There's almost a stigma around it. It's just too ceremonial and outdated, but drill actually does still have a place, and it is an opportunity for teamwork. Halt! So that's what we're trying to reinforce here. Slow! March! So you march with a stick, and each time the foot strikes the ground, your pace stick should rotate to meet your feet exactly. There's a lot of work goes into it, and the harder it is, the more it galvanises the team spirit. About turn! Excellent, that's smart, that. March!
Every year, teams from across the 1st Military Police Brigade compete in a pace-sticking tournament.
Change, sticks.
This year, Sergeant McHenry is leading an MCTC team. And he's decided to make a bold move by including 2 detainees alongside staff for the very first time.
The driver really was that I didn't like the team of staff they picked, and I preferred some of the detainees. And that's the truth. Pacing! Sticks!
For Sergeant McHenry, it's a chance to impress his commandant and show everyone that MCTC's wayward soldiers can fall into line.
If they don't win first place, I'll be pissed off, because I think they should. Halt! Fall out! We're going to prove a point, and we're going to win it. Right, pretty much there. Yeah, as a team, it's good, I think, and that's it. I'm happy. Left, right, left. Halt. Fall out. Morning.
More stuff.
Many detainees at MCTC have committed a crime that's the very opposite of military discipline and commitment. Going AWOL or absent without leave.
A cornerstone of operational effectiveness is military cohesion. The reason why punishing people for going AWOL is so important is because if you're expecting, as a government, to be able to depend and rely on a unit to go to war within a certain time frame, then you need to be able to assure yourself that all the workforce is going to be there that requires. If you don't have your workforce in the military, then you can't go on operations. So that's why people going AWOL is such a big issue.
But But even worse than going AWOL is the crime of desertion.
AWOL and desertion is all about intent. If they've got no intent of returning, then they're deemed as desertion. Consequences of desertion are far more serious than AWOL in that until fairly recently you could actually be executed, and in America at the moment in wartime you still can.
Staff, I am 10823 DNUS Alves, awaiting hearing of the District Court Martial. I'm in week 6.
After being on the run for a year and a half, DNUS Alves, a detainee not under sentence, is locked up at MCTC while he awaits court-martial.
I ran away for a total in 590 days. The first time I was picked up, it was around 11:30 at night. It was just 2 police officers came to the door. I was arrested and taken into custody. And then the second time, I was in my mum's house and I got an officer looking through the window. At that point, I ran out the back door, ran away for about 10 minutes or something. I was surrounded by police and ended up running into a dead end. So I lay down and just gave up at that point. And that's what makes it worse off on my case, because I didn't hand myself back in.
Private Alves is being kept in a separate wing for those detained on remand, called Service Custody Platoon. If found guilty, he could receive a 2-year sentence.
I'm being held in custody because they've deemed me as a flight risk. They think that I'll just run away again. I don't think it's fair that they're trialling me for desertion. I was always going to come back just once I had myself in the right mind state. Because at the time, I wasn't thinking rationally. And I say my mind was at other places, I had other things going on. So I'm hoping that my charge is dropped and then I can live my life again.
Each detainee at MCTC is allocated to one of 2 regimes.
On a row.
Detainees in D Company spend their time learning different trades so they can get a job when they leave. But detainees who will be soldiering on receive intensive military training in A Company.
Enemy 50 metres!
Where their performance is constantly monitored.
From the left, be all right, all the way down the track.
If they're A Company and they want to do well in their military career, then it's really important they get a good report that goes back to their commanding officer in their regiment. A sentence at MCTC can make or break your career. It can absolutely break it if you come here and you don't engage, you don't learn your lesson.
Today, ex-corporal DUS Coro, who was found guilty of disgraceful conduct of an indecent kind, has a chance to prove his worth on the battlefield.
You move first. Back down that way. Then we go up. Through the water? Yeah.
They basically go around the training area, carrying kit, crawling. There's attacks, withdrawals, captured persons, casualties, all that sort of stuff.
Move! You to the left, move!
I expect them to go out there and practice killing people. So, for me, I want them to be aggressive as long as they control it in the right manner.
In charge of 10 fellow detainees who've never worked together before, Coro has to demonstrate his leadership skills.
Cover! Get in the fucking water! Get now! Get in the fucking water!
But respect for his orders are in short supply.
Get in! In the fucking water!
And Coro soon loses the plot.
See? Get in the fucking water! Get in the fucking water! You fucking rapid, you fucking idiot! Think about it!
He was in command appointment with another 10 detainees to manage.
This way.
And he had a bit of a breakdown. The pressures sort of got to him and it all sort of snowballed. That obviously isn't a good thing to be doing.
You're a fucking boy, bro. Stop. You fucking... Mate, look at all the runs. They're fucking not complaining. You're complaining about getting wet. Go. Enough. Fucking hell. I told you get in the fucking water. Why didn't you put in the water?
And by the time they get back to base, DUS Coro's leadership skills have gone AWOL, and his men are in complete disarray.
Yeah, lose your fucking attitude and I'll help you.
Mate, you're the one giving me fucking attitude.
Shut the fuck up, the pair of you. Just get missed that ready. Oi, oi! Fucking stand by, idiot.
Military training isn't just about keeping them busy, it's refocusing and ensuring that they are up to the standards to be retained within the services. And Coro, at this moment in time, has really got a long way to go.
A guiding principle of military discipline is respect for your superiors. And anyone who doesn't abide by it can face serious sanctions. Rhys Martin has been sentenced to imprisonment after being found guilty of grievous bodily harm with intent against a higher-ranking soldier.
I feel like it's completely unfair and unjust, to be honest with you. It's just the fact I had an altercation with a corporal. He outranks me significantly, so they've took his side and his account. The way the military justice system works is they're very one-sided. They see a corporal has been attacked by a private, and then their initial reaction is straight to operational effectiveness, how this can affect the whole squad, etc.
Martin may feel hard done by, but grievous bodily harm is a very serious offence in military and civilian law that carries a sentence of up to 5 years and potentially life if GBH with intent. Because of the gravity of his offence, he's waiting to be shipped to civilian prison in nearby Chelmsford.
I'm the one to lose my family. I'm the one to lose my daughter. I'm the one to lose my house. I'm the one to lose my car. I'm the one in prison. So that's what I think about army. Fuck the army. I'm devastated I'm going to get imprisoned, especially in HMP.
We dress in civilian attire to take him to prison because we don't want to draw attention to the prisoner. If we were dressed in uniform, they would see that we were bringing in someone who's from the military. That can cause a number of issues with people in the prison. Have they got any negative views against HM forces? So if you jump in the middle there.
Yeah.
We go and shut your gear in. Because it's imprisonment and not detention, what we then do is we take him from here down to HMP Chelmsford, which is the closest prison to MCTC. Ever said how long you'll end up doing?
8 months. Yeah. But I'm just going to put my head down. I'm not going to speak to anyone. Yeah. It's coming down to the last couple of minutes now, down to the wire. We'll be arriving soon.
Right, if you put your arms like that. So here's your seat here now. Generally when they come up to the prison, they see the prison, they see the gates, and there's a couple of staff outside stood in their uniform. That's generally when it starts to sort of set in for most guys that the reality of going to prison.
Speaking.
Not only does the military have its own detention centre in MCTC, it has its own elite military police force, the RMP.
Got to deal with that. Okay, to nick 'em.
Yeah.
On the weekends, its unit in Essex town of Colchester spends most of its time rounding up drunk squaddies based at the town's army barracks.
Big night out! Come on!
But it's not just public disorder they deal with.
156 Glasshouse speaking.
Tonight, a woman has called from the army barracks accommodation block, claiming she's been assaulted by her soldier boyfriend. An incident that could see the suspect taken straight to MCTC.
She's been GBH'd on the barracks. She doesn't know the room.
If a patrol is able to meet us at Merville Barracks, we'll be over in about 2 or 3 minutes.
Front of domestic happening in one of the blocks. We don't know who she is, but she's in the room. She's called it into the police. Right, let me know what's going on, okay?
Yeah, Essex is already here.
So we'll just literally comb through every single block.
Right, okay, got you.
Because the alleged victim is civilian, regular police are joining up with the RMP at the accommodation block.
I'm going to try and find out the exact location. Quite a few important things here to consider. Mainly, this victim's safety. We don't know what's going on inside that block, inside that room. Anything could be happening at this point.
Assuming it's this one.
Right, guys, I've got a phone number. Try calling the victim. If she does pick up, keep her on the line. Find out the condition that she's in and where the suspect is. All right, it's really important that we find this out.
Yeah, so. Are you right? Whereabouts are you? Hello?
Did the phone just cut off?
Yeah.
The squaddie is nowhere to be seen, and the distressed woman has locked herself inside his room. But she's no idea of its location within the barracks, and it's up to Lance Corporal Smith to deal with the situation.
Hello? Yeah, so my name's... Just call me Daisy. What kind of pain are you in? A lot of pain. Okay. Have you got any injuries? Okay. I think like the priority is taking yourself out of a situation and what you're best doing to get to her. You can't just start panicking and freezing up because there's someone scared on the other side of the phone. We're just trying to find you, so is there any chance that you're near a window? Let us know if you can see the torches. Okay, we're going to try and get to you as soon as possible.
After 20 minutes, the alleged victim manages to guide them to her location.
Right, can you hear my voice? Yeah?
You okay?
When people go to MCTC, that is based on evidence that we collect. So our job is gather information and just try to get her to calm down and just explain things in a calm demeanour.
While Lance Corporal Smith deals with the woman, her RMP colleague and the police look for her boyfriend and finally track him down with some fellow squaddies.
Right, before we discuss this anymore, okay, you want to come sit with us in our car, all right, and this moment in time you're under arrest on suspicion of assault, okay? You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you don't mention one question, something you're out in court. If you do say, maybe get evidence, all right?
If she was military, it might be a different situation where ourselves might take over, but because she's a civilian and the victim, obviously, when a crime happens, everyone thinks it's all about the suspect and arresting the suspect, but actually it's about the victim at the end of it, and they're the ones that need the most support. So in order to give them the best support, that's why civilian police took over in this matter.
Gentlemen, come to attention. You know we're going by the front, quick march. Left, right, left, right.
Detainees serving their sentence at MCTC before returning to their units are incentivised to do well.
We have a staging system, and that staging system starts off when they arrive at stage 1. We have a stage 2, and we have a stage 3. And each stage has a different level of privileges.
DUS Cotto's poor performance on the battlefield put his military future in jeopardy. But he's been working hard to impress. Mentoring new arrivals.
And all you gotta do is put that in.
And putting in maximum effort.
The only thing I can do now is try. If you're being a good boy, head down, doing what you need to do, and doing extra stuff. That's what we all took an oath for, to always listen to our officers.
Everything we've seen suggests to us that he's reformed and that he's genuinely remorseful. His conduct's been excellent. He's disciplined, he's proactive, positive, engaging. So he's doing all the right things, all the things we'd hope for from a detainee.
Lift. Good. Pulls at the top
And lower. Well done. Good.
Corro's improving conduct has propelled him to Detainee Stage 3, which after a thorough risk assessment has earned him a day of freedom.
With Stage 3 status comes certain privileges, and so he's been granted unsupervised short-term temporary release, which we nickname parole here.
But it's not just a reward. It's a way of putting Corro's progress to the test.
The detainees have 6 hours of a weekend, with obviously certain caveats. They're not allowed to go to any public house, they're not allowed to gamble. So as long as he sticks to the rules, he'll be fine.
Parole is the best thing ever because you get to go outside and see new faces instead of looking at the same person that's in your room every morning when you wake up. I'm happy just to go and feel normal again. I'm so excited.
By the front, quick march. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left.
A core aim of MCTC is to reinstill a sense of rules and regime that its law-breaking soldiers may have lost.
Whether they're being retained or discharged, the detainees have to uphold good order and military discipline, and we all strive for the same aim, to rejuvenate those individuals with service life.
I'm DB 13623, DUS Jeffrey, sentenced by District Court Martial to a term of detention of 180 days.
But for DUS Jeffrey, having to conform to strict rules and regulations is a massive challenge.
Everything is marked on your property, yeah?
Yes, staff.
He's here because he was found guilty of desertion after going on the run for 17.5 years.
For the last 17 years, I've been doing everything I can to evade capture. I wouldn't have a bank account, anything traceable because I was on the run, paranoid, worried about getting caught. I would also stay where there was less people, less cameras as well. So forests, up the highlands as well.
Adjusting to life in MCTC detention has been a major challenge for DUS Jeffrey, and he's often clashed with other detainees.
Everybody's not going to get on with everybody in here, you know? And when you're in a room with maybe 3, 4 to 8 other guys, there will be something that, you know, you just don't agree upon or you just have a little argument about and that. As long as I don't physically harm anybody or get into trouble here for fighting or whatever, then I can't get accused, I can't get blamed, and I can't get involved with any of that bullshit.
When you're dealing with someone like Jeffrey, why on earth would they conform? They are completely demilitarised in the sense that they've spent so long away from the military. They're not used to the discipline.
DUS Jeffrey fled the army soon after joining up and rarely saw his daughter or family whilst on the run.
I left because it was more of a bully mentality with some of the ranks. I didn't like that side of it. The relationships broke down with my daughter, with my daughter's mother, family, things like that. But starting to rebuild a relationship with my daughter, which is good going forward.
The thing I hope for Jeffrey, more than anything else, is that he can just find a bit of stability and not have the stress that he must have had over the last few years.
I don't want to make my time worse, yeah, or extend it. So I just sort of keep myself to myself. I've got my family, my daughter, my life to think about. That's all that matters. My family and loved ones.
DUS Corro's adherence to MCTC's regime has paid off, and today he's being let out for parole.
These are all his weekly reports, and on every single one, he's got at least one positive insert from a member of staff. Positive attitude, conduct and performance, works exceptionally hard. So this weekend will be his first time out, wherever he pleases to go.
It'll be the first time Corro's worn his civilian clothes since arriving at MCTC 3 months ago.
Now civil, and it's kind of weird. Been a long time. It's that freedom to go anywhere and do whatever you want to do that you don't get in here. That's one thing I miss most.
No matter what Coro does with his day, he needs to make sure he's back within 6 hours if he wants to avoid serious sanctions.
Really happy right now. Really awesome. This is a blessing, being out. Everybody wishes they were here. Now I'm here. Looking at that right there, you always miss that. You want to be free, but you can't be free. Part of me wants to leave MCTC, as in today. Just walk away.
In military justice, defendants are tried by court-martial. But instead of a jury, military personnel decide guilt or innocence, as well as the punishment.
Our job is to support the armed forces, administer justice to service personnel, thereby supporting the operational effectiveness of the armed forces. When we talk about the sentencing process, the service justice system differs from the Crown Court. In the Crown Court, the judge sentences alone. In our jurisdiction, the judge advocate sits with the board members who have found the defendant guilty, and they form the sentencing panel. It has the advantage of being bespoke, it can act quickly, it's entirely portable. We can take the court-martial anywhere around the world, and we do from time to time when we need to.
For DNUS Alves, the day of his court-martial has arrived. His charge of desertion has been dropped to AWOL, but he still faces up to 16 months in detention.
Got my court-martial today, it's at 10 o'clock. Still feeling nervous about it and that. Hopefully it all goes well.
And Alves wants the court-martial board to take significant personal factors into account.
I joined the army because I thought it would be able to help get me on the right track, make a career of it, but I just signed up at the wrong time. I signed up not long after the passing of my youngest brother, and I never really had time to process it. So I wasn't in the greatest of mental spaces. I wasn't getting the help I needed in my unit. I did express to them how I was feeling, but every time I'd spoken to the chain of command, I never really got to see any help from it. And I know other boys within my unit have never really been given the help as well, and essentially it left me feeling trapped and I had no way out.
The hearing will be held remotely, and the board will inform Alves of their decision as soon as it's over.
Did you write anything you want to say? Because maybe they will ask you if you want to say anything.
I've got a defence statement there.
Good. Nervous. Good. No worries, man.
Wish me luck. Hopefully all goes well and I don't get a heavy sentence.
After almost 2 hours, the hearing is finished.
4 months. 4 months, mate. Fucking brilliant, like. I went into my court-martial expecting to get anywhere between like 12 months, 16 months, and I've been given 4 months. So I've come out a lot happier than I went in, that's for sure. 4 months should fly by. Happy, buzzing.
He presented himself well, and his sentence was a lot more lenient than he thought he could get. I think he's looking forward to getting out and getting on with his life, whatever he does, and I think he'll be successful.
It's Sunday afternoon at MCTC, and DUS Coro is due back from parole.
I'm just checking if an update for DUS Goro ETA to the men get over.
But with a strict return time of 4:30 rapidly approaching, and severe consequences if he doesn't show up, Coro is nowhere to be seen.
If Coro or any other detainee doesn't come back after their curfew, which is 16:30, we'd start to notify all of the authorities. So this is the crib card that we'd send out to the police, his age, his build, hair, eye colour. And when they were eventually found, then that would be sort of straight back here for an additional 2 years.
But with just seconds to spare, DUS Coro makes an appearance.
It's hectic. Had to rush. It's nearly time for me to get back in. I need to be in for 16:30, so...
Cheers, man.
Thank you very much.
Coro cut it very, very fine. Being late would have been regrettable, especially for someone in his position. He's put in a lot of work to get where he is now.
Stuff.
Should he maintain the standards that he's shown so far, he should enjoy many, many more trips out on a Sunday.
I'm so glad I had that parole. 3 months in there is like a lifetime. Coming back in, you just feel that feeling that you don't want to be here, but you have to be here. At the end of the day, these places helped me a lot. That's one of the things I'm happy about.
On MCTC's parade ground, it's the day of the pace-sticking competition, and the 1st Military Police Brigade's High Command have gathered to watch. MCTC is being represented by Sergeant McHenry and his unique squad of staff and detainees.
We'll take your time to slow everything down. When I give the command for the change sticks on the feet, I'll try and slow the pace down. Just relax. Get the dressing right, fine. If you see it going awry, just try and get it sorted out. Let's go. Working with the detainees and achieving something together is something that we haven't had many opportunities to do. In terms of sense of achievement, that's what we're trying to instill in them. Back through here together, yep, that's what you can be proud of.
McHenry's men are first up. With their commandant watching, the responsibility couldn't be greater. MCTC pride is at stake.
So that concludes Detention Company's drill presentation. May I have your permission to fall out, sir?
Carry on.
Performance over, Sergeant McHenry and his team can relax and check out the opposition.
Why is he saluting a fucking Razman? This is even better.
That's one off.
Hey, don't mind giggling, but not belly laughs.
No belly laugh.
Unnecessary,
Good
mate.
Back inside MCTC Barracks, there's been bad news for DUS Jeffrey. After learning he's to be deported to his native South Africa, immediately after leaving MCTC, DUS Jeffrey has kicked off and been isolated for his and other detainees' safety.
He was essentially told that he was going to be kind of collected from the MCTC on his date of release and taken straight to a deportation centre and held there until he was escorted out of the country. And he lost his temper and throwing furniture around his room and had to be segregated as a result of that.
When I found out, I was very, very angry, very upset, and let my anger get the better of me. So I've let myself down.
To make matters worse, it's highly unlikely he'll be able to see his teenage daughter in the UK before being deported.
It's a difficult one because he wants to spend time with his 14-year-old daughter before he's essentially kicked out of the country, and he was being told that that probably wasn't going to happen.
what I'd like to tell my daughter, there's so many things, mostly that I'm sorry, and that I love her. And hopefully she'll understand when she gets older and forgive me to a certain extent. I hope she remembers all the good and not the bad. All the stuff I put her through, being on the run, memories I couldn't make because I was on the run. I just hope she succeeds in life. That's all. It's my mistakes I've made. I'll need to live with it.
Out on the parade ground, the final drill is over. The judges have compared their notes, and the results are in.
Runners up! Detention company!
Start, quick, march! Obviously he wanted to win, that's the aim. But second, yeah. I'd like to see the scoring. I think it was pretty close anyway. So I think the standard was high, and taking that into consideration, we've done well.
But the efforts of McHenry and his team haven't been in vain.
Best pay sticker then! DUS, Howard!
In the individual awards, one of the detainees has taken the top prize.
I'm really happy getting best sticker. That's just brilliant. Anything that reminds them of that team spirit and the fact that they can, if they put their mind to it, they can win and succeed is good. And if you'd have told me to get best pay sticker out of one of the detainees and we'd come runners up, I'd have took that all day.